Good morning. Happy Friday. All you just make it to Friday people, you made it. First, I want to say congratulations to Afroman. I doubt he follows my channel. That was a ridiculous lawsuit by the police. I am shocked that they brought it. I mean, he has money to pay judgment, so I can understand why an attorney would take that on contingency with a fairly low probability of success. You know, I could see how they would hope that the jury would be shocked by the behavior of Afroman and having him sing sexually explicit lyrics about an officer's wife or calling an officer a PDF file. But at the same time, I'm still shocked that he thought that the attorney for the officers thought that there was a good probability of success. I do want to say that Afroman's attorney had a magnificent beard. For all those who think that good attorneys can't have beards, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. And he was an excellent trial attorney. He had, not all of his objections were sustained. You never expect all of your objections to be sustained. But he made, I thought, excellent objections. His questioning was excellent. And I think he was really helped. I'll be honest with you. I think he's really helped because the officers have a lot of experience, I'm going to assume, since they're all seasoned officers, in testifying at trial. Normally they have the benefit when they're testifying at trial of being a neutral person and, they're just the cop who found the evidence or whatever. They're just testifying about the evidence they found. So they have experience testifying, so they give more direct answers, etc. Generally, not all of the officers were very good at testifying. And Afroman was not very good at testifying, but, all the circumstances, I think, made him a very what's the word? A likable defendant, a defendant that you could kind of like see his position and you can relate to him. He's a very relatable defendant. And, a lot of people think that, officers kicking down your door and then not paying for the repair and eating your food and going through all your stuff and calling you a sex addict and, making other generally negative comments about you while they rifle through all your shit only to find nothing. A lot of people think that's wrong. Now, the officers had a warrant, which means that a judge said they could do what they did. But it doesn't feel right. You look at it, a man's house is his castle. You have a very high expectation of privacy there. You feel violated if people come into your house and go through your shit, whether it's the cops with a warrant or whether it's a thief breaking into your house. You feel violated, and I think people sympathize with that quite a bit. But congratulations to Afroman. I definitely think that justice would have been denied had he been forced to pay the cops anything, even $1. With that being said, I do want to talk about Iran. The shit show continues. Bad decision after bad decision. Israel and Trump are pointing fingers at each other, saying that each one was responsible for the strike on the North Pass gas field. Iran retaliated by striking a lot of oil and gas infrastructure. I saw a report that it's going to take like 3 to 5 years before Qatar, maybe I'm wrong about that, I think it's Qatar, can get all of their gas facilities back online. And of course, that's 3 to 5 years for the repairs that have been done, for the repairs for the damages that have been done to date. and that probably won't start. The repairs probably won't start until after this war ends. So all the talk about anti-aircraft systems in Israel being, or not Israel, Iran being destroyed or put out of commission. They're still shooting down drones. They shot down an F-35. You can't see it. Oh, wait, you can see it, but you can't target it. Oh, wait, you can see it and you can target it, but you can't hit it. Oh, wait, now you can hit it. Like America's reliance on miracle weapons has been about as stupid as Ukraine's reliance on miracle weapons. If we just give them the ATACMS, then they're gonna beat Russia. Oh, if we give them the F-16, they're gonna beat Russia. Oh, if we give them the Abrams, they're gonna beat Russia. Oh, if we give them whatever. I mean, everything we've given them, all these American wonder systems haven't turned out to be American wonder systems. So, I'm not a military expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I can read and I follow this stuff. And I don't know why we even listen to the U.S. government when they're talking about all the advantages that they have. And it's fairly, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I've been huffing my farts for too long. I think it's pretty easy to tell the direction this is going. We have a lot of historical examples of how this is likely going to go. History doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. We did overthrow the government in Iran previously, back in the 50s. I want to say 53 or somewhere around there. And Iran overthrew our puppet government in 79 or 80. I remember Ronald Reagan negotiating for the release of the U.S. hostages. I think they were released right before he was inaugurated in January of 81. So it's probably 80, maybe 79, somewhere in there. The regime changes that we do don't last. They never last. So, I don't even know what we expect to do there. We did a regime change in Afghanistan. What was that, 2009 or something like that? The Taliban was in control. By the time we left in 2020, the Taliban was back in control. And just remember, Iran is 2 to 3 times the size of Afghanistan, landmass wise. Similar terrain, lots of mountains. When we went into Afghanistan, they had essentially no standing army. Essentially no. I mean, we basically just rolled in there. But by the time we pulled out, the Taliban had taken most of the landmass of Afghanistan back. And they were marching on the capital when we left. And we had over 100,000 troops there, at least at the height. I don't remember exactly how many, but at least 100,000. In Vietnam, we had over 500,000 at the height. I don't know the exact amount. I just know it's over 500,000. And, we lost that. And there's, between Afghanistan, which basically got no support from third parties, in Ukraine, which has been getting substantial support from the entire West, all of Europe and the US and Canada and probably other places, you could see the direction it's going. The Ukraine is losing the war against Russia. I don't think that's in contention at all. I mean, people will still say that Russia's lost millions of men, but there's been no source other than the reports from the Ukrainian government that substantiate those figures. Russia is not investing all of its armed forces in there. I think they're around 600,000, maybe 800,000 troops in the Ukraine currently. And they're taking the land that they want inch at a time. People are like, oh, they're going slow. Well, yeah, they're going slow. They're trying to keep their casualties down. and they're trying not to destroy civilian infrastructure as much as possible, except for like the energy production stuff. But they're trying to minimize, like they've killed way fewer civilians in that whole war than we've killed in Iran to date. I mean, we're just, well, at least day over day. I think they kill like 10 civilians or something like that every month, and like we've killed thousands already. It's pretty ridiculous. But you can see that with the backing of major powers, that it's pretty hard. And again, the Ukraine is like maybe a third or a half the size of Iran, with substantially smaller. It had, I think, about 1 million troops at its height, and Iran has more than 1 million troops right now. It doesn't have the geography, the mountains of Iran, and Russia has a big border with Ukraine where like supply is fairly easy, but it's still a slog for them. I mean, that war has been going on for like 4 years. 4 years? Yeah, like 4 years now. And so I think we're sending about 7,500 troops, not all of which are Marines. I think it's less than that of Marines in these Marine Expeditionary Forces that we're sending. There's like 2,500 in the first one, and now they're sending 2 more like expeditionary units, like the USS Boxer and another one that I forget the name of. But like, what's that going to do? Like, what is that going to do? It's not going to do anything. Even with substantially more ground troops, we lost Vietnam, which was getting aid from the USSR and from China. We lost Afghanistan, which wasn't getting any aid from anybody. I mean, this is not going to go well. And Russia's had to commit significantly more troops. I think they originally went in with like 100 or 200,000 troops. And they were sustaining quite a bit of losses, more than they wanted to. So they had to up their troop count so that they could maintain superiority, so they could achieve and then maintain numerical superiority, because, that really helps. It really helps. And for all of you democracy bros out there, oh, democracy is great, blah, blah, blah. Just remember, you didn't vote for this war. This war is highly, highly, highly unpopular with the U.S. population. Apparently 100% of MAGA supports it. But MAGA has shrunk significantly, especially with the current narrowing of you have to support Mark Levine in order to be MAGA, apparently. So, I mean, that's a very, very, very small percentage of the U.S. population. But the rest of the U.S. is highly against it. And, what is your vote going to do? Like, what is your vote going to do? Your vote isn't going to do crap. Your vote has never done crap. What did voting do for Ukraine? They got cooed by the U.S. backed Maidan revolution in 2014. What did it do for Ukraine? It caused a civil war. Russia intervened, and what did it do? Voting doesn't help. The government is always going to do what the government wants, regardless of what the voter says. Voting never helps. It never does help. They entirely do not care. Entirely do not care about your vote. Once they get into power, whoever it is you voted for is going to do what they want to do, what their donors want them to do, what our greatest ally wants them to do. And I have to remind you that the U.S. is currently sending ground forces towards Iran. Why would you send ground forces if you're not going to use them? I don't know, but I think we're going to use them. Our greatest ally is not. It's going to be U.S. ground troops that are going to die in the mountains of Iran or on the beaches of Iran. U.S. troops. Your countrymen, your sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, those are going to be the people who are dying there. Not Israeli troops, not Israeli ground forces. They're gonna be busy turning Lebanon into another Gaza Strip. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to let you and yours die for Iran. And no vote you cast is going to stop that. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Oh yeah, and oil prices are surging, bonds are dumping, interest is surging, inflation is surging. I mean, it's all bad, and it's all going to get worse. USA, USA. I mean, I love my country. Don't get me wrong. I love the USA. It's the only home I have, the only home I'll ever have. But my God, like, our government is doing everything they can to fuck it up. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.